Today, we will delve deep into the dynamic world of consumer goods logistics and gain a deeper understanding of the complexities of this industry. We will also explore how the Unitrans Consumer Goods division services the consumer market. And to help me do just this, let's welcome Eric, Nati, and Reno.
Hi, my name is Eric Kuhlman. I'm the General Manager of Specialized Warehousing.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Sure.
I am Nati Manyeke. I am the head of human capital. I partner with operations in human capital matters.
Awesome. Thank you, Nati.
I'm Rene van der Berg. I'm a general manager for the consumer team, looking after the poultry clients and some of the groceries and consumer goods.
Awesome. Maybe a good place to start will be giving us a bit of an understanding of the consumer sector landscape. What exactly does it encompass?
The consumer landscape typically involves what Reno does on the agricultural side, right the way through to what we do on network supply chain design, where we're looking at more palletized finished goods and their route to market, involving warehousing, line haul, secondary distribution, and looking at where the clients are and how to get product to them at the best cost to serve.
Yeah, we basically provide the farm to fork, if you can call it as such, where we start on the agricultural side, getting the raw materials in to the different processing plants, and from there transporting or distributing the finished goods. Our client base is majority of our client base is people serving the daily consumers and products for them for consumption.
Okay, great. So how would you say consumer behavior has changed in the recent past, and what impact does that have on the logistics and the supply chain?
So we're seeing obviously impacts from the imports with the global uncertainty, effects on shipping, the Durban and Cape Town port congestion affecting the flow of goods. So a significant erratic flow of goods on the inbound side. And then as far as the consumer is concerned, what we're seeing impact all of our models and our cost to serve is people are ordering more often and less. So, and typically in your outlying areas, in the rural areas, etc., that impact is felt a lot worse, specifically in the Eastern Cape, far outlying areas, Northwest,
The Free State.
And then the impact on the mining industry is also we've seen a contraction in lubricant distribution into mining. On the upside, however, there's been a big focus in South African businesses to export, and we've seen a merge away from local demand to exports. So we're doing a lot of container packing, and on my side at least, I see growth there offsetting slower local demand.
Maybe if we could just back up a little bit, Eric. You said people are ordering more often and less.
Yes.
Who is that, at a retail level or at a consumer level?
At a retail and a consumer level, and I think it's got a lot to do with cash flow management. So people are taking orders from clients, and they're expecting our service level to cover their cash flow. So effectively, instead of stock sitting on a shelf that's paid for and the money's out of the bank, they're taking an order, taking money from a client, holding onto the cash, ordering the stock from the supplier, paying the supplier, and then getting the money from the client in a much shorter period, because there's just not enough cash flow and liquidity in the market.
And putting a bit of more pressure onto the transporters to get the product there as soon as possible.
Absolutely, to close up that cash to cash cycle quicker.
Yes, 100%.
Awesome. Maybe that's a good place to unpack Unitrans Consumer core service offerings. Let's understand that.
Sure. I think let's go through the supply chain from, as Rena says, from the farm to the fork, and let's just unpack each section as we go along.
Yeah, I think so the big thing is Unitrans provide all the transport and logistics services, like mentioned, from raw material inbound to manufacturing, storage, warehousing, and again distribution or to primary distribution centers, as well as in some instances to the secondary market. Eric, in the space of the warehousing and specialized warehousing, they tend to do the associated transportation to the secondary market. We, on the old consumer base or consumer contracts or logistics contracts, we focus more on the primary and the inbound of the products and the raw materials.
Awesome. And how do these services work together to create a seamless and efficient supply chain for your customers?
We've got a recent client that's a great example of your question, where we're effectively the walls and the wheels and the people in logistics, right the way from the farm to the end client, where we're involved in their business. If it involves trucking, if it involves moving stuff, it involves storage, deliveries, we're doing the whole end to end for them, and that's a typical FMCG client. That's our core business, which means we are a third-party logistics company, effectively doing the work on behalf of a customer and billing them for that on a contractual basis, determined by rates and time. We have quite a big area of that. Our line haul division, which my colleague Theo runs, he's got in excess of 200 trucks. And a lot of those are 4PL vehicles that are subcontracted to us, and we're contracting those to our end clients. And in doing so, we're able to offer a very stable service level at the right rates.
I think this would be a great place for you to help us understand how Unitrans tailors its services to the specific needs of different customers in the consumer sector.
Yeah, I think if we go back to the poultry industry, it's highly specialized, the equipment we use, and not all grower is the same. Depending on the hatcheries, different equipment used in the hatcheries. So we build and design our trucks around the hatcheries and the equipment they use inside of it. The same applies with the catching of the broilers and bring it into the plants. Not all the processing plants are the same. However, we have to design our equipment to cater for their designs, for their machinery. And that's just one of the examples how we tailor-made our solutions around our clients and to adjust to the requirements.
Rena, I was doing a good job of keeping up with you. I got the hatcheries, but at broilers, you lost me. What is a broiler for the regular person?
A broiler is the chicken that's going to come in for processing and for consumption later.
Okay.
It's a fully grown chicken.
All right. Awesome.
On my side, so if everything is delivered at a supermarket as a normal person would understand it, it's typically arrives as a pallet or what we term a roll tainer, which is basically all the fine picks, all the little bits of odds and sods all put onto a movable roller device, right? But behind the scene of that, you've basically got different sized pallets arriving at warehousing, and you need to understand how to fit that into a warehouse, and that'll involve the aisle widths aligned to the pillars in the warehouse, the type of forklift you use, the size of the loading bay, the turning circles, how many trucks need to arrive a day, how many forklifts you need, what the shift structures are, and all of that boils down to an income statement and a monthly cost. And then, of course, you do optimization on the capital involved in that, whether you should rent equipment or purchase it outright, depending on the contract length. And that'll all depend on your client's strategy. If they want to change their supply chain, in other words, they might want to move from holding more or holding less, or they want a short-term change. They might want to move their warehouses around, or they're settled. No, we're going to stay in Joburg for the next 10 years. We're going to build a massive facility and invest in it and bring down the monthly costs, but invest a lot of capital. So it's all these moving parts that we play with in order to come back to the client with the best solution that fits either their quality requirement, their cost requirement, or their service requirement. Those three keys.
Eric, you have an uncanny ability to make warehousing and pallet jack sound quite exciting. What would you say are the key factors that are driving growth and innovation in the consumer goods industry?
Yeah, I think the big thing for growth and is Unitrans sees themselves as partners to the clients and not a supplier-client relationship, more partnership. And hence the reason why in the consumer division we've got contracts exceeding 20 years.
Wow.
And it's basically of being a partner. During the hardship, we feel the hardship with them and we adjust accordingly. And during the better times, we also enjoy the better times with them. But essentially, we're partners, and we're aligning our management structures, our equipment. In a lot of instances, you wouldn't notice it's a Unitrans truck. It's got the client's branding on it. That's how we integrate with our clients. And I think that's where our growth is sitting, is that we become a partnership, extension of their business, and not just a supplier to them. And that to us has been very good in terms of growth, organic growth, and opening up doors. The reputation, the service that we provide, that talks itself, and people approach us because they want the same service and the same relationship.
What does your footprint look like outside of South Africa?
Yeah, so we do have some operations in Mozambique, Botswana, Namibia, Zambia, and Tanzania.
Okay.
So we do operate in those areas. That's more on the sugarcane and the agricultural space.
How would you say this division contributes to making things happen?
How we make things happen. So we listen. And that's why I paused. We don't just prescribe, we listen.
Yeah.
And we hear people's challenges, and we translate those challenges that they explain to us into a service offering that allows them to focus on their business and to grow without being concerned about moving stuff around and storing stuff and getting stuff where they need it. It sounds simple, but the listening part is the hardest. That's what gets us going out.
That's a great answer.
Definitely, it's a partnership. I've mentioned previously, it's a partnership and extension to their business. And that's how we make things happen.
Yeah.
Excellent. So for an organization like Unitrans, I think from just based on what we've covered so far, you understand how supply chain strategy and execution can be a differentiator in your customer's business. So I'd like us to spend a little bit of time understanding, what do you see the key challenges faced by businesses in the consumer sector when it comes to supply chain optimization?
So it's a question asked in the present. 5 years ago, I would have given you a different answer, and probably in 6 months, there'll be a new answer. It's about being very current with the changes in all the technology that's going on, and the dynamics in the market. So to be able to really tap into innovation and to offer a linkage to a strategy to a client, you need to be very cognizant of what's happening, and what the new technology is in the market. 10 years ago it was warehouse management systems and barcode scanners. Today people are talking about AI and everything is on an app on a phone at the moment.
Absolutely.
And those technologies come with massive challenges, and it's about finding the right fit, being aware of what they are, but really listening to your customers' problems and using the technology that works to enable their strategy to work. Because if you just throw all the toys at them and you drop all these devices on your drivers and you've got all this technology, you actually can't do the job.
I love that. So you kind of need to help them navigate that. You are the subject matter experts, and based on your partnerships and how you understand them, you are able to recommend what would be the best fit for that organization based on the available set of solutions.
Correct.
All right. Awesome. Thank you for that. Let's go back into the cold chain, because I think that's a big part of your business. And I don't know, Reno, it will be a big part of the poultry business, right? Could you share with us some of the requirements when transporting fresh or frozen goods?
Yeah, so I think the biggest difference between fresh and frozen is the temperature. You just said it that. So fresh will normally be transported between minus 1.5 degrees Celsius and 14 degrees Celsius, where frozen would be around minus 18 degrees Celsius. That's the main difference between the two.
And what do you do to ensure cold chain integrity in these spaces?
So we procure the right equipment. It's to understand the task at hand and procure the equipment that's suitable or best fit for the task at hand, and maintain those equipment according to OEM specifications. If you've got reliable equipment, then you're already halfway there. And SOPs aligned with the client's specifications and well-trained staff. That's how we manage to maintain our integrity the cold chains.
Okay, so it's about quality equipment and maintaining it, servicing, warranties, that kind of thing.
Yes, and well-trained staff.
Okay, excellent. Anything you want to add there, Eric?
Yeah, Raina spoke about processes. I think that's also a huge key of what we do. Nothing is deployed and implemented without formal procedures that are documented and taught and trained, policies as well, and codes of discipline. So people are well aware of what their role is and what it entails, as well as, job descriptions, specifically in the cold chain where you're dealing with food. And, in my business where it's all about the health and safety and not getting anybody hurt.
Absolutely.
That's a huge part of our business. That's a differentiator. So that you can get anybody to drive a truck, but you see what happens on the N3. Where it comes to food safety, personal safety, compliance, those are the key elements that really, that we work hard at.
Staying with poultry, what are some of the solutions that you've introduced to poultry farmers in order to make things happen for them?
Yeah, so the biggest one is together with one of our clients, we've developed a large chick transporter that can carry a capacity of 120,000 chicks at a time.
120,000 day-old chicks in one
chicks.
Vehicle in one go.
At one vehicle, one
That's
go.
a lot of chicks.
It is. I think the big challenge in terms of that is you're dealing with genetics, you're dealing with CO2 levels, you're dealing with time to get those birds to eat and drink. So it's oxygen levels and comfort, temperature, very important. And so that was quite a bit of a design process. And
Sorry,
I think
Reno, but typically what distance or how much time are these chicks spending on the road from origin to destination?
on average about 3 to 4 hours. But we do
so
have
it's quite a long trip for a chick, right?
Yes. So in 2019, we embarked on a trip to Europe with some of our clients to kind of have a look at some of the best equipment out there in Europe. It was thought that the Europeans are building the best trailers, and we've inspected some good quality designs, but decided to say, but it's still, we need something for Africa. You can buy that equipment, bring it back to South Africa, but how are you going to maintain it? How are you going to make sure that it is going to remain in a working condition, and the capital associated to that in terms of the weaker exchange rate? So we decided to design and build our own version of a chick transport that can carry large quantities of birds, at 120,000 plus. And so we took a bit of ideas that we've seen, some of the best practices and features, and we said, how are we going to design something that's going to work for us? And we also designed a performance-based system, auger bulker, to feed the chickens.
In transit.
So what it means is, instead of having a link on the road, we designed a semi-trailer to carry the same capacity as a link. What's happening is we're reducing the amount of rolling wheels on the road, and we could do more with less. And there was some cost benefits as well in terms of making use of such a type of equipment. Unfortunately, with the RTMS and the governments, we are only limited to the different routes. But Unitrans were the first company to invest in the research and development and to design such a piece of equipment.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Unitrans is apparently one of only a handful of operators in South Africa that's accredited with the Animal Feed Manufacturers Association. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
What is this accreditation about, and what does it allow you to do that others cannot?
So Unitrans is one of 9 transporters that's AFMA certified, and the only one, as far as I know, that's outbound logistics certified. So the AFMA accreditation was designed for transporters, or to set protocols for transporters to comply with food safety, normal hygiene processes, to make sure that the trucks are cleaned properly, and to avoid diseases and bacteria. So those set of rules are being passed on to the transporters, which we are being audited on, and to make sure that we comply on a frequent basis. by having AFMA accreditation means that you comply with the standards of food safety and of product safety. And on the outbound logistics part of it, what makes it even better for us is with all the avian influenza that happened in the previous year, we can say, but the feed that we are transporting is also certified. We also go through another process to make sure that we provide to you safe feed. We look at biosecurity. We take it very seriously. And we are willing to go through the whole audit and certification process to make sure that we provide that additional comfort and assurance to the end clients or the end consumers of the animal feed.
How do you prioritize safety across all your operations?
So we work on a 3-pillar system,
Mm-hmm.
which is effectively the equipment we're using, the task or the journey we're on, and the person involved. And each 3 of those elements is assessed according to a whole lot of different things. People are trained, medicals are done, there's a procedure they have to follow. The vehicle is, obviously you've heard, is correctly specified, maintained. The OEM place, the original equipment manufacturer OEM detail is correct for the weight, for the size, etc. And then as part of the task or the journey, we do route risk assessments, and we do inspections on delivery points. And if it's a task, as I spoke about earlier, there'd be a procedure in place defining what should and shouldn't happen, and that would be documented. Now, all 3 pillars and all those elements get checked and audited, and then where there are shortfalls, those get repaired and fixed, and then we go through the whole cycle again. And it's this nice circle that we go around and round, auditing, fixing, checking again, auditing, fixing, checking again. And all 3 of those pillars are really what keep us safe. The background of that is obviously all of the certification, but they effectively, all of those certifications will link back to those 3 pillars.
So this is something that everybody lives and breathes on the daily.
100%.
Natty, you looked like you wanted to say something.
Not really. I think Eric has covered most of it, but I think he mentioned the procedures, that there are SOPs, which is the standard operating procedures that are devised for each operation that we have. We obviously have a divisional SHEC manager that assists with that. He deals with all our safety standards in ensuring that the initiatives are taken care of in different operations. You would have heard that there's the Reno side and there's the Eric side, the warehouse and the poultry side. So he ensures that he understands what is it that is required on the chick side or on the animal feed or poultry side, and what is it that's required on the Hescam side, which is Eric's side. So his name is Hein, and I'll stop at that.
Don't stop. Let's keep going. What are some of the safety initiatives that are currently running in the operation?
I think the safety campaign, there's toolbox talks that take place, the safety stand downs that are taking place, which SHEC is highly involved in on daily basis. Those are some of the initiatives.
What is the toolbox initiative about? For somebody that's outside of your business.
They'll pick a topic, they'll pick any subject of the month, and in all our operations, before a person is briefed in the morning, they talk the person through that. Like now we are approaching festive, they'll be talking about safety standards or procedures in terms of what is it that they must look out for during the festive.
Can you maybe share, I don't know who's going to pick up this one, some examples of Unitrans Consumer's sustainability initiatives?
I'll talk about my part of the business. So we look at all the new technology, obviously, to improve sustainability. Solar is a big thing. We've deployed solar on most of our warehouses, and we're busy putting solar on the remaining warehouses. Okay, so most of our warehouses have got solar. The remaining that don't, we're busy implementing at the moment. We put in polycarbonate sheeting for natural sunlight to avoid using lighting to reduce the power consumption. What we've also done prior to the implementation of lithium batteries is we implemented 3 lead acid batteries on our forklift fleets, and that allowed us to avoid any off-grid forklift charging. So we would charge 2 batteries in the day, and use one at night, and then rotate the set of batteries to avoid any nighttime battery charging. We do rainwater harvesting off the roofs of our warehouses, and that's obviously used for gardening and cleaning trucks, etc. We use grey water in our toilets that comes off our rainwater harvesting. But I think the biggest impact on the green are the little simple things. We have a massive program at the moment to reduce diesel consumption. Diesel is our biggest issue as far as Unitrans is concerned with regards to sustainability.
How are you doing that? How are you reducing your diesel consumption?
There's a whole set of initiatives. Obviously, the trucks we choose, and the technology in the trucks always improves. When I started, we were using 70, 80 liters per 100 kilometers on trucks. That's now down to mid 30s.
That is amazing.
So that's a big change.
You've practically halved.
Yeah, but it's not just the equipment; it's driver training and driver management, driving in the green bands, reducing idling time, but then it's also the planning and the routing. So the drivers' routes are managed very carefully, so they don't drive excess kilometers.
Very nice. There's a lot to speak to from a sustainability point of view, but it seems like you've got most of those bases covered. That's amazing. That's awesome. Let's talk people stories, shall we? Natty, I'm going to eyeball you. Apparently, Unitrans has been certified as a top employer. Congratulations, first of all.
Thank you.
How is this evidence in Unitrans Consumer Division specifically?
I would say I would talk to three pillars of many other elements of the employer of choice. I'll talk to leadership, and I'll talk to career growth, and I'll talk to competitive salaries. With the first one being leadership, I would say we've been fortunate as a division, being led by one of the best COOs, which is Gareth Jones. He's got good leadership qualities, and that cascades down to his main team, which is, of course, the GMs and the functional teams. And we see that on the ground or on the floor. And I would say that's one of the elements. The second one being competitive salaries. The one thing that the GMs and I and Gareth that always discuss, Reno had to laugh at that, is the competitive salaries, paying people right for the work that for the service that they provide, or for the work that they do. And I must say it's something that we've been doing all right as a division. It's something that we excel in to pay competitive salaries and competitive benefits. So we benchmark. So we do not just say we'll go in at an entry level or not, but we do benchmark our salaries and ensuring that if you are going to be working, for instance, as a contract manager or a warehouse manager, that we pay you accordingly. We look at what the salaries are in the industry or outside Unitrans and internally, and benchmark accordingly. So that's how we pay the competitive salaries. The last pillar that I would mention under that is consumer, we also adhere to is career growth. We have seen drivers becoming driver trainers. I think Eric mentioned driver training at some point when he was talking about what is it that goes into us making things happen. And we've seen people who are drivers that have been accredited with TITA becoming driver trainers to train the people, their colleagues, basically, with which is the driver coaching. And we've seen the people that came in as supervisors becoming managers. We've seen, Reno is one of the examples. Can I mention Reno? Reno is also one of the examples. He grew within the company. I think we've all had a fair share of growth within the company. So we do promote growth or career growth within our space. And we invest in our people in terms of that is concerned.
That's awesome, Natty. As head of human capital, that's your role, huh? You have put forth a very compelling case for me to want to come and work at Unitrans.
Thank you.
Let's talk about a typical day for somebody who is working in Unitrans Consumer. What challenges, what rewards are they looking forward to?
I think Um, from my end, I think we would probably all maybe to say one or two things. But for me, I always say, as you said earlier, are we FMCG? We almost like, if you've ever seen people that are FMCG, we are that that caliber of people. Everything changes. You can never really predict your day. You do not know what's going to come up, and you must be willing already to actually change with whatever changes that come with the day. So you cannot really be rigid in how you operate. You can start and say it's a Monday, you've got a fresh brain, and something comes and just kicks you off, and you're like, okay, let me pick myself up. So that's a really typical consumer, and we are quite fast paced, and we are fast paced. I always say we are fast paced individuals as well. So if you are quite slow, you might just struggle to work with us. I think that might be the challenge, which is why when we recruit our people, we ensure that it's people that can keep up with the pace.
Absolutely.
So because we understand the response time needs to be quick enough for us, especially where you're working with customers.
Sounds like you're describing a very dynamic environment.
Yes, it is.
Changes from anything can come at you at any moment, and you must be able to roll with the punches.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you for that. Closing comments on this piece, Nati?
I would say, what a wonderful company to actually work for. The one thing that I wanted to mention actually under career growth was the fact that we do not just recruit for the current. So you could come in as maybe a manager, but we would be checking you, would be assessing you to check if you are a fit for maybe general manager. We recruit for the future. We want to see people coming up the ranks and making it to the top. And it's not many companies that do that. So you find your growth within the very same environment. That is why we've got people that are celebrating 20 years, 30 years within, or 35 years even, within the very same organization. And it is just a phenomenal environment to work in, and being led by a phenomenal exco team.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Let's look at, we've covered a lot of ground, where we've come from, some of the things in the pipeline. When you look ahead for Unitrans, what's the most valuable lessons that the company, or even you in your own personal capacity, have learned over the years? And how has this shaped Unitrans' approach to business?
I think from our side, and what I've picked up is the importance of people. AI is there and it can do phenomenal things, but it can't replace people. Interaction. A good driver at a client is your eyes and your ears. He's a representative of your client and the face of your client at that specific time. So people is important, and to have the right people and to invest in them and to make sure that they are also happy in their employment. That's critical for us, or for an organization to survive. Doesn't matter if it's Unitrans or another organization, but it's critical, and people's important.
From my end, I would say exactly the same point that Reno is spoken to people, investing in your own people, trying to retain the talent within the organization and ensuring continuity. I would say it's one of the most valuable lessons that Unitrans has learned over the years, and we have seen the results of that.
What do you believe the future holds for the consumer sector, and how is Unitrans preparing for future challenges and opportunities?
But I think as far as the future goes, there's a lot changing in the economy, and I think we're well poised to use the knowledge we have and the expertise, and use those to grow.
Your perspective, Nati?
I'll pass.
You're gonna pass, all right, Reno?
Yeah, I agree with Eric. I think over the years we've experienced a lot of tough years, post-COVID as well. And I think South Africa is in a recovering phase into our clients. And I think, like Eric mentioned, is we are equipped now. We've got a very dynamic team assisting us with business development, chasing for the new work, and then from the existing people and the remaining people to look after our existing business. So I do think we're well positioned, and with the tough years behind us, I think the opportunity is to grow, and I think Unitrans has already moved into position to once that opportunities are there to pursue them.
Thank you very much, Reno. Thank you, Natty. Thank you, Erica. I've learned so much about Unitrans Consumer. I have so much respect for that chicken breast that, that ends up on our plate every day. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to this episode. Be sure to listen to the full Make It Happen series, and these episodes can be found on Unitrans YouTube channel, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, comment, like, and share with a friend.